Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to an overview of the upcoming updates to Kerbal space program in the NASA Asteroid Redirect Mission Pack, also known as version 0.23.5. First off, NASA. For those of you that don't know, KSP has officially collaborated with the American Space Agency to add realistic NASA parts, along with a new feature that's going to be the source of a lot of new content for the game. Asteroids now spawn in space around Kerbal, not necessarily within its sphere of influence, in a variety of sizes in both career and sandbox modes. It's also worth mentioning that we're likely to see specific missions to redirect these asteroids in the next update. For now, we can just make ourselves our own fun with them, which is what we've always done, and I can tell you is plenty enough opportunity to mess around for me. Let's start off with what you'll see when you launch into the game from the main menu, after entering a new or saved game. The Space Center is pretty much the same with the exception of the addition of the Time Warp functionality. This is also present in the tracking station and will allow you to speed up the passage of time to the same degree available in-game. It's one of those things that I've always wanted but never vocalized the desire for, so it's certainly nice to see the need for it recognized by the devs and added to the game. Going into the tracking station now, we see a load of question mark icons floating aimlessly in space beside our planets. These are the asteroids themselves, and clicking them will provide you with an information window that tells you the particular asteroid's size class, and a short description of what that entails. Asteroid sizes vary from A to E, with A being the lightest and E therefore the heaviest. Class E objects are proper behemoths. No less than 18 meters in radius, they don't just look heavy, they are in fact more massive than it would seem. Once you've selected an asteroid, at the bottom left of the screen, next to the Terminate or Switch to options, will be a track option. And this will turn the asteroid from an unknown object floating in space to a celestial body recognized by your tracking center, meaning that you're given a plot of its trajectory fully equipped with patched conics to tell you if and when it'll enter the Kerbal sphere of influence. Now, to the vehicle assembly building. No new command pods have been added, but we have plenty of new toys to play with. First and foremost, flags are now applied by default onto the side of certain parts. This is a toggleable option, but really, why would you turn it off? Especially considering the fact that the NASA flag has been added to the stock collection of flags. My dear Union Jeb, I'm so sorry, but we are siding with the Americans for today. Before we get on to the really exciting stuff, I'd also like to quickly point out that lights can now be right-clicked to provide an RGB scale that allows you to change their colour. Not only can we light up our moon bases, we can also make them look funky. Alright, now for the rockets. Where we previously had size 1 and size 2 diameter parts, NASA has proclaimed that Kerbal should be given the technology to make even bigger fireworks, and so our space programs have unlocked size 3. However, we may have bitten off slightly more than we can chew, because as of yet there are a few new structural parts to support the weight of these monstrosities, and as a result scaling up the asparagus launch stage method is a bit troublesome. There are two types of size 3 engines, the Kerbodyne KR2L Advanced Engine and the S3KS25x4 engine cluster. According to its description, the Advanced Engine is Kerbodyne's first attempt at a super heavy lifting engine. Later models have been designed with multiple nozzles to prevent a single point of failure and reduce manufacturing costs. The engine has an incredible max thrust of 2,500 kilonewtons and an impressive ISP of 380 at sea level. This drops to 280 in vacuum though, making the Advanced Engine seemingly best used for launches. Incredible though the Advanced Engine's thrust may seem, it's mere check-in feed when compared to the engine cluster's combined punch of 3,500 kilonewtons. To compensate, the ISP is only 320 at sea level, it's heavier than the Advanced Engine, and there's no attachment node beneath the nozzles to add parts on via. All this makes for another launch engine regardless, but surprisingly enough, the launch cluster's ISP in vacuum is 360. So if you get it up into space, it's perfect for shifting metric tons of Delta V, or for that matter metric tons of asteroid. To feed these massive engines, we have the standard expected set of size 3 full, half and quarter liquid fuel tanks. In addition to this, we have a super long burning size 1 diameter solid rocket booster, courtesy of NASA to help you pursue the shuttle replica dream, as well as a curious dual nozzled size 2 engine fuel tank combo. Now, this one is pretty unexpected but very welcome nonetheless. Packing 2000 kilonewtons of thrust and a nice vectoring angle, it's perfect for when size 2 parts aren't sufficient and another size 3 stack would be overkill. It also looks nice, has an ISP the same as the large engine cluster, and adds that bit more variety to launch stage building styles. Besides engines and fuel, there are two noteworthy parts to mention. You'll use the advanced grabbing unit to attach forcefully to other objects, including both asteroids and other spacecraft. Meanwhile, the launch escape system will, well, help you escape from bad launches. With a thrust of 750 kilonewtons and a burn time of half a second, mount it on top of your command module to wrench yourself away from catastrophes of all shapes and sizes. In-game, the new NASA engines bring a new sexy launch exhaust stage thingy-majobby with them, as well as a noticeable improvement in the performance of the game on lower-end machines. I've heard that the game suffers as a result of many asteroids being brought together, but while conducting your typical launching, flying, and crashing horribly business, you should be able to enjoy better frame rates. Moving on up into space, the maneuver node system has been greatly improved. Created nodes are now persistent, meaning you can leave to the tracking station and see them in there, return to your ship and continue using them. On that note, using them is easier, as a result of the addition of two buttons accessed by right-clicking the node, that allow you to delay the timing of the node by 1 orbit. So if you're looking for an encounter but need to wait that bit longer for the perfect launch window, say goodbye to having to warp until it seems about right. You can simply make a node, set up a transfer and delay it until the target's body reaches the desired point in space. Nodes can also be cancelled through an icon beside the navball. Now, for the feature you've all been waiting for, asteroids! Some of these critters are on a course to collide with Kerbal, but most are content to simply dip in and out of its sphere of influence without disturbing the waters. That's actually quite an accurate expression, considering the fact that whilst the moon causes tides, these asteroids are too small to pose any gravitational attraction whatsoever. Meaning you can't stand on them or drive cars round like on a British Gas advert. Like on a British Gas advert, however, you could build yourself a house on one, using the new grabbing arms to implant docking ports into the surface and proceed from there. For now, let's satisfy ourselves with capturing this asteroid in orbit around our home planet. We can build a space elevator or something later. Get into orbit, set it as a target, plot an intercept burn at the inclination node, delay the intercept burn until the asteroid can be bothered to show up, and you're halfway there. Once you're at the same altitude and near enough to it, you can cancel out your relative velocity and begin to hurtle through space alongside the lifeless, rocky ball of, well, rock. In order to capture the asteroid, we need to align our thrust with its centre of mass, which is easier said than done. Luckily, in this update, we gain the ability to target the asteroid's centre of mass through a context-sensitive right-click menu, and to pivot on our grabbing arm. Unlocking the arm will allow your craft to rotate on the pivot freely, eventually line up the way your engine is pointing with the pink target marker on your navball, and lock it again. At that point, it's all just a matter of burning for long enough retrograde. The bigger an asteroid is, the more delta V you'll need to shift it onto the desired orbit. My first attempt here goes well enough, but ends up running out of fuel trying to get the poor Kerbals home. They try the whole get out and push thing, but to no avail. Oh, and in the process Jeb runs out of EVA fuel and drifts away. But that's fine, he's Jebediah Kerman. He doesn't need paltry things like a spaceship to get home, so we might as well leave him up here. I'm sure he won't mind. Ah well, this is a good opportunity to test out the grabbing arm on ships as well as asteroids. The implications of this being, of course, that you no longer need docking ports to dock. Just slap on a grabbing arm and you can connect to anything, to anything at any other point. Of course, in career mode the arm is super hard to unlock, but otherwise this is a very useful piece of tech. For instance, you know how difficult it is to dock rovers on the ground? Yeah, I do. Well, with this we'll have that plane up and flying in no time. And this command module down and burning up beautifully in the atmosphere in a similarly brief period of time. Whilst it is doing so, let's end the video. The update is beautiful. In fact, I think it's one of the best we've had in a while in terms of the number of possibilities it brings. These asteroids make for the best play toys. From dropping rocks on rockets waiting to launch to, wait, I could drop an asteroid from orbit and aim for the space center, then launch a rocket and try to deflect it on the way down. Or I could bring two into an equal and opposite orbit and then smash them together at a relative velocity of over 6,000 meters per second. Or I could join them together and make them spin to make an artificial gravity binary system. Wait, I could strap on a massive rocket to an asteroid and then ship it out to the Joule system and play ping pong around the moons. Or I could drop it on the Kraken from a height to see what happens. Damn, this update is good. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.